A couple of years ago, Gavin Pretor-Pinney got a picture of a strange sort of cloud.
I mean, it was like a wavy cloud, as if you're looking at the turbulent sea from below.
He didn't take it himself, he's a cloud enthusiast and the founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. They have a photo gallery online and people send in photos of clouds from around the world.
And it was very dramatic because the waves were very intense and very confused and contorted and turbulent.
He was supposed to classify it by name before uploading to the website.
There is already a term for a wave cloud, undulatus it's called.
Which usually looks like this.
But it didn't seem like the normal ones. It seemed quite intense, as if it had been turned up to 11. It seemed almost distinct enough to be a cloud of its own. And then a year later, another one came in which felt very similar in appearance. And every now and then, someone would send in one of these crazy wave clouds.
And so these photos kept coming in from all over.
From the States, from Europe, from Australia.
Until eventually he started thinking.
How do you go about getting a classification? How do you argue? Who do you argue to that you think there should be a new classification of cloud?
Pretor-Pinney is a man on a mission. For the past 10 years, he's been working to change the way people think about clouds.
In the English language, you have phrases that are based around clouds being bad things. When you talk about somebody having a cloud hanging over them when they're down or depressed, when there's bad news in store, there's a cloud on the horizon. They're metaphors for the negative things in life, for the things that get in the way. They get a bad press.
And he thinks he knows how this happens.
The human brain works on, we respond to change. You don't hear the air conditioning in your office because it's there the whole time. And the fact is that clouds are omnipresent. The only time we do notice them tends to be when they get in the way of the sun. And for that reason, we tend to think of them as metaphors for the stuff that gets in the way in life.
The way he became a cloud advocate was sort of a coincidence when he was asked to give a talk in a small independent festival.
And I thought, if I give this talk an unusual or surprising name, people would be more likely to come along. So I named it the inaugural lecture of the Cloud Appreciation Society, just because I thought it sounded intriguing. And lots of people did come and they asked me afterwards, how do I join your society? And I thought, well, actually, now I think about it, maybe it should be a real society.
This all happened a decade ago. Today the society has almost 40,000 members from all around the world who are all looking up, trying to spot clouds that look like things.
When someone takes a picture of a cloud that looks like something, it's a kind of capturing a moment in their thought. The abominable snowman, or maybe the Michelin man going to rob a bank. The face in profile of Salvador Dali, an ostrich pecking a roof. It's like nature's version of the ink blot images, that shrinks used to show you.
And apparently, lots and lots of elephants.
Associations between elephants and clouds has a long history, and early Hindu myths about the formation of the world involve elephants. They involve elephants that were white and had magical powers where they could change their shapes, and they had the power to bring rain. So finding the shapes of elephants in the sky is something which perhaps has been done forever.
Maybe the ultimate symbol for taking the sky seriously is the art of John Constable, one of the most famous English painters of all times. About 200 years ago, he created a series of paintings known as the Cloud Studies. It was probably just a technical exercise. He never sold them or put them on display, and he made notes about the weather on the back of the canvas. But today these paintings are just as famous as the iconic landscapes he painted. But on the other hand, taking something as trivial as clouds so seriously also seems kind of eccentric. And so having a society that's dedicated to cloud spotting tends to bring a certain kind of response.
What? what's that society about?
And it is really strange. Members of the society don't necessarily get together. There are no big conferences, no competitions, no fundraisers.
You know, if you get everyone together, it'll either be just a kind of dull, boring, overcast sky, an alto stratus cloud is what you would call it, or otherwise it'd be completely blue sky without any clouds in the sky.
Pretor-Pinney himself doesn't even take that many pictures of clouds.
Maybe by the time you've taken it, the moment's slightly past, it's not quite as good, the formation's just dissipated away.
Which brings up the question, what is it all for?
It's to do with a frame of mind and an attitude, paying attention to those aspects of our surroundings which are perhaps the quiet little moments that other people miss. And Cloud Appreciation Society members are people who remember to look up and remember to pay attention to the sky.
And in his mind, this way of thinking also extends to the business world.
When businesses want to come up with creative solutions to some challenge that they've got, and they say, right, we'll go and do some blue sky thinking, we're all going to go away to some new location and we're going to clear away all the distractions in life. And it's not that helpful.
Fighting blue sky thinking is actually in their manifesto.
It's not blue sky thinking anything's possible. It's realizing that the things that get in the way in life, they are what encourage you to look at the problem in a different way. They force you to come up with a creative approach to something that's a familiar problem to you.
Meanwhile, the society's new cloud has already got a name, Asperitas.
To be roughened.
It caught on quickly and is being used online often.
It's not official yet.
It's now in the process of being approved by the UN's World Meteorological Organization, and it's looking good.
If it gets in, then it would be the first new type of cloud since 1951, I think it is.
And Pretor-Pinney is always looking for new ideas to get people to pay more attention to the sky. He talked about clouds at TED and Google conferences, and the new cloud is also getting some attention, but it's really hard to advocate for something that you do just for the sake of doing it. Something that gets you nothing tangible in return, but that is the whole idea.
The fact that something's aimless doesn't mean it's pointless. The fact that something has no immediate outcome, it's not going to achieve something, that doesn't mean it doesn't have value.
Still, there's one thing you can achieve by doing this.
Cloud spotting legitimizes doing nothing.
If this was your first episode, check out Season 1 from the beginning, or sign up and subscribe to be updated when Season 2 is out.